Most people are trapped in effort loops. They wake up, grind through endless to-dos, chase every opportunity, and still wonder why progress crawls. The truth is harsh but freeing. Not everything matters. In fact, almost nothing does. The world runs on a law of imbalance. A small few create almost everything. A handful of actions produce nearly all the results. This is the Pareto Principle, the 80-20 rule. And once you understand it, your entire strategy for life, business, and mastery will flip. But it doesn't stop there. Hidden inside that 80-20 curve lies something even more powerful, the 99-1 rule, the deeper layer where the real leverage lives. Let's break it down. The 80-20 principle, nature's shortcut to power. In the late 1800s, Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto noticed that 80% of Italy's land was owned by 20% of the people. Then he saw the same ratio everywhere, in wealth, crops, sales, and production. Over time, this pattern proved universal. 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. 80% of profits come from 20% of customers. 80% of growth comes from 20% of habits. It isn't just a formula, it's a law of asymmetry. Power clusters. A small number of causes drive a massive share of effects. Once you see this, you stop worshiping busyness and start chasing leverage. Why the rule matters. Most people confuse activity with productivity. They fill their schedules with tasks, meetings, emails, updates, etc. But very little moves the needle. The 80-20 principle reveals the truth. A small fraction of what you do creates almost everything you value. Your job is to find that fraction and scale it until it defines your life. Number 1, time. Focus on the hours that matter. Track your week. Notice how few hours actually create progress. Maybe it's when you're creating offers. Maybe it's deep, creative flow. Maybe it's one sales call that flips your entire month. Cut the rest. Automate, delegate, or delete it. Every hour freed from low-value noise is energy you can pour into your high-value few. Number 2, money. Find the profitable few. Money obeys Pareto like gravity. A small set of products, clients/customers, or channels create nearly all revenue. Study your numbers. Find the 20% that prints money and the 80% that drains it. Then, double down on what compounds. The rich don't work harder, they cut deeper. They scale the winners and starve the rest. Number 3, learning. Go deep, not wide. You don't need 100 courses. You need the 5 that rewire your perspective. Most knowledge fades. A few key principles last forever. Ask yourself, which lessons actually changed how I think? Which mentors gave me results instead of theories? Revisit those until they shape instinct. Depth builds power. Info overload builds noise. Number 4, people. The social Pareto curve. Look at your circle. A few people uplift you. Most just exist. A few drain you. That's another 80-20 pattern. 20% of your network fuels 80% of your opportunities. 20% of your interactions give 80% of your energy. Guard your access. Invest in the allies who multiply your vision. Let time wasters fade out naturally. Greatness is never built in crowded rooms. It's forged among the few who get it. Number 5, energy. Simplicity wins. Your body runs on Pareto too. Sleep, diet, training, focus. That's your 20%. Forget trendy hacks. Master the basics that deliver 80% of performance. When your energy is optimized, every other domain compounds faster. Number 6, business, the game of multipliers. In business, the 80-20 curve turns into pure math. 20% of offers bring 80% of sales. 20% of customers cause 80% of problems. 20% of marketing angles drive 80% of conversions. Your power move? Identify the leverage zones. Perfect them. Scale them. The goal isn't variety, it's dominance. One killer offer beats 10 mediocre ones. One sharp system beats 100 good ideas. Number 7, mindset. Simplified desire. The deepest form of 80-20 is psychological. Most people scatter their energy across endless wants. Success, comfort, approval, distraction. The elite focus their will on a few clear aims. They live by subtraction. They say no more than yes. They trade short-term comfort for long-term asymmetry. That's how motion turns into momentum. The 64-4 rule, the hidden layer beneath 80-20. Here's where it gets exponential. If 20% of actions create 80% of results, then 20% of that 20%, just 4% of all actions, drives 64% of outcomes. This is compounded Pareto, leverage stacked inside leverage. The closer you get to the core, the more explosive the returns become. Your entire empire could come from a handful of decisions. The one product that hits, the one relationship that changes everything, the one mindset shift that realigns your whole trajectory. The 99-1 rule, the fractal core of reality. Now zoom in again. Inside that 4% lies an even smaller center, the 1% that generates almost all results. This is the 99-1 rule, the deepest layer of leverage. In this realm, you stop managing effort and start controlling asymmetry. You're no longer competing on hours, you're compounding on insight. Examples of the 99-1 effect. 1% of investments create 99% of your wealth. 1% of content builds 99% of your audience. 1% of clients/customers fund 99% of your growth. 1% of choices determine the direction of your entire life. Everything meaningful is created by the tiny few who understand how uneven power truly is. The fractal pattern of success. The beauty of the Pareto curve is that it's infinite. It repeats inside itself forever. Inside your 1% is another 80-20 split. That means 0.2% of what you do could drive half of your total success. This is why mastery looks supernatural from the outside. It's not luck. It's layers of focus refined to the atomic level. How to find your 1%. Number 1, audit everything. Track your time, money, and energy. Notice where results actually come from. Number 2, trace the chain. Follow each win back to its cause. What small move triggered the domino effect? Number 3, cut the dead weight. Delete distractions with no measurable output. If it doesn't multiply your core metric, it doesn't belong. Number 4, reinforce the signal. Reinvest in what works. Relationships, systems, content, skills. Amplify until it compounds without your constant input. Number 5, protect the core. Once you find your leverage point, defend it ruthlessly. Guard your focus like treasure. Why so few reach the 1% layer? Because it often feels wrong. The world trains you to stay busy, to chase balance, to measure effort instead of impact. But leverage lies in imbalance. It lives where small inputs create giant ripples. Most people never look for it because it breaks their comfort scripts. They're addicted to doing instead of deciding. The elite don't chase balance, they chase compounding. The 99-1 mindset. When you realize how power distributes, you stop fearing narrowness. You stop trying to be everywhere. You choose one mission and build worlds around it. You refine one main skill until it becomes a weapon. You focus one message until it pierces through the noise. This is the opposite of mediocrity. It's purity of purpose. Domino effect of precision. One small shift at the core can alter everything around it. Change one system, one word, one belief, and the entire game updates. Think of it like tuning a guitar. One twist and the whole song changes. That's the 99-1 layer, where precision beats effort. 80-20, 64-4, 99-1, the ladder of leverage. Here's the full hierarchy. Layer, 80-20, input, 20%, output, 80%, focus, efficiency. Layer, 64-4, input, 4%, output, 64%, focus, optimization. Layer, 51-1, input, 1%, output, 50 to 99%, focus, mastery. Each level filters noise and increases power. The deeper you go, the less you do, but the more it matters. Real-world examples. Elon Musk, 1% of his projects, Tesla and SpaceX, created almost all his influence. Jeff Bezos, 1% of products, books, to everything store. The AWS, defined Amazon's empire. Michael Jordan, 1% of plays made him immortal. The clutch shots, the finals moments, the discipline between seasons. They lived inside the narrowest band of leverage and stretched it across the world. The infinite pattern in nature. This rule isn't just human, it's cosmic. 1% of stars hold most of the universe's mass. 1% of genes define most of your physical traits. 1% of storms cause nearly all destruction. The universe itself is asymmetric, fractal power woven into everything. To master life is to align with that pattern. Living by the 99-1 code. Stop chasing more. Start amplifying meaning. Each day, ask, what's the single move that makes everything else easier or irrelevant? That one question will destroy distraction and reveal your leverage point. Operate from it until your life compounds by design. The discipline of subtraction. Every layer of Pareto demands greater elimination. To reach 80-20, you cut clutter. To reach 64-4, you cut comfort. To reach 99-1, you cut everything that doesn't serve your purpose. This is why mastery feels lonely. It's not isolation, it's purification. When you live by the 99-1 code, you don't scatter yourself across 100 possibilities. You become the gravity center others orbit. From effort to elegance. At first, leverage looks like laziness. You'll do less, you'll say no more. You'll seem cold to those still addicted to busy work. But soon, results explode. That's when you understand the real secret. You were never meant to do everything. You were meant to discover the few things that change everything. The infinite upgrade loop. Once you master a layer, zoom in again. Inside every 1% lies a smaller 1%, a deeper truth, a finer adjustment, a more potent action. That's the infinite game. Refining your leverage until your entire existence runs on precision. It's not about working harder or even smarter. It's about working truer, aligned with the asymmetric laws that shape reality itself. Final truth, the source of freedom. Most people die trapped in the wrong 80%. They never stop to ask, what actually matters? Those who do, those who hunt the few that move the many, live on another plane. They play a game others don't even see. They understand that wealth, freedom, and mastery aren't created by doing more. They're created by identifying the few forces that shape everything and riding them like waves. So audit your life. Find your 20%, refine it into your 4%, then guard the 1% with your soul, because that's where destiny hides, in the smallest moves that change the entire map. If the 80-20 rule shows you where to focus, the 99-1 rule shows you who to become. Your habits are that 1%. They shape every result, every win, every reality you experience. Start there. Build the discipline that builds your destiny. Click the link below to get the Keystone Habits Blueprint and make the next 365 days your proof of leverage in action.